sounds like a broken record, but we're getting closer and closer to going into default. And what I thought was just political posturing, I'm not alone here being real worried about this. Now, we had last week on Congressman Hayworth, who told us in the beginning of the week, don't worry, we'll get a deal done. I'm less sure. I'm really starting to think that even though Andrew's analogy of cramming for the exam, don't worry, it'll be fine. I think there's legitimate worry here that even if they do get a deal done by Monday, you're going to have real impact on literally the bond rating in this country, and with all the real consequences people will feel, let alone they don't get a deal done by August 2nd. Am I alone here?
Let me make it clear that, first of all, there is not going to be a default. There's going to be no failure to pay interest on the United States debt.
What you say, and everybody's saying, hey, we'll be able to pay the bonds. We're not going to be paying potentially certain checks that are due, and moreover, everybody agrees. No, hold on. Everybody agrees, so we don't get into parsing language, that the effects on the economy, on the markets, will be calamitous. Not one single person disagrees with that.
You are defining the problem incorrectly. The problem is not whether we raise the debt ceiling on time. The bond rating agencies and the markets are responding to the fact that the politicians in Washington cannot control spending and cannot even have a civil discussion about spending.
For 77 times, Betsy, we have raised the debt limit in this country, including 7 times under the previous president. Every time, the language, if you look at it, is, if we don't do this, oh my gosh, what the calamity is.
No, now, you are incorrect. Let me point out that during the...
Can we not spend a lot of time on...
People are unfamiliar with some of the facts. During the Bush years, the debt increased about $500 billion a year. In 2008, suddenly,
really
it increased
Betsy?
$1 trillion.
Betsy,
in 2009, $1.9 trillion. In 2010, $1.7 trillion. That's a threefold increase.
Spending has certainly gone up, but the bond markets are reacting to the United States' ability to pay its creditors, the people that it owes money to. That has nothing to do with the current level of spending.
If the debt limit is not raised, the United States will be able to pay 75% of everything.
With all due respect to my friend Betsy, I really believe that this is really not about spending. This is about a possible tax increase. This is about Boehner, who cannot control his caucus, no matter what he says. This is about 87 new freshmen in that caucus that have made pledges to the Tea Party that no matter what, even if it means we go under, they're going to stick to their stance.
They made
and
a
that's
pledge
ridiculous,
to the American
Betsy.
people not to raise taxes, and guess what?
That may be fine.
The president has called for a balanced approach. We've just raised taxes $500 billion.
But Betsy,
they haven't gone into effect yet.
Public opinion is on President Obama's side.
Allow me to try and rein this in for a second. There's a consensus, seemingly with just about everybody, not everybody, that if we don't get a deal done, among the following things, other than the default where we don't have to debate the language, here's what's going to happen. Interest rates are going to go up. Adjustable rate mortgages, anybody at the table have one? It's not going to be good. Your car payments, your business loans, all those things will be very, very adversely impacted. The markets, from people, markets, including some of the top guys at the top hedge funds say, if we don't have a deal done, you could see an impact on the markets worse than what we saw in 2008.
I don't think it's going to happen.
She is right about one thing. We are in this position because we can't rein in spending. That's why we're in this position. Okay. So yes, I agree with you. If we default, oh, you do, Richard.
I agree with you.
Yeah, because I'm right.
Absolutely. We have a spending problem in this country. And rather than waste our valuable time about how we got in there and how there's a couple wars going on and everything else.
How is that a waste to figure out how you got into this position and to get out of it?
Let's say we agree.
How is that a waste?
We all think the American public's smart, right? Okay? Let's not, right?
Yes.
Well, here's what the American public says. They want a balanced approach and they want shared sacrifice.
Well,
so wait, time out. And I'm going to say something.
Sacrifice.
There you go.
The key
I'm going to say the word and then I'll shut up and I'll let you go, Chief.
Thank you, Richard.
What they said was, we want cuts, painful cuts, okay? But real cuts in spending, and 3 out of every 4 Americans believe they want a top-tier tax increase to what they saw at least under the Clinton years.
We just passed a top-tier tax increase.
Oh, please, Betsy, you're the only one who actually believes that, okay?
Excuse me, the Obama health law increases taxes by $500 billion, including an increase in the Medicare payroll tax for those earning $250,000 or more, including a new Medicare investment tax, 0.9%, for everyone earning $250,000 or more. A total package of $500 billion in new taxes.
And how much has already gone in? How much has actually gone into effect?
It goes into effect in 2013, and that's why people haven't felt the effect yet.
Last I heard, Boehner had gotten his caucus to make a deal until February or March. Well, how is it now Boehner's problem?
So what happens?
Well, nothing has happened yet. It's got to move. It's got to move from the House to the Senate. And we have Obama coming out at 9 o'clock, and we don't know what he's going to say. But you have a House. I mean, I know you're talking about those freshmen.
But Jeannie, I'm begging you. Do you think that what Boehner?
You have to beg a lot.
Okay. Do you think what Boehner walked out of the room with, went to his caucus, he went back to the White House and says, you know that deal I agreed to, where there's going to be closing tax loopholes, et cetera, it's still on the table? Because unless Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid said, please, Mr. President, don't close those loopholes, then the capitulation the Democrats are doing hasn't been met by the right.
Why are President Obama and Harry Reid so committed to getting through to 2012? What is that about? That is all politics. It's the same thing.
And you also
I'm not.
Thank you, Betsy.
Andrew, I'll give you a shot here to define the political gamesmanship going on right now, because 2012 is very real in this conversation. But to pretend that it's just a presidential concern, it boggles the mind.
No, it's an entire party concern.
We've been talking about the debt limit for 2 months now, and we haven't gotten any closer to a deal. We're now 2 weeks away, or I'm sorry, a week and a day away. Yeah. Imagine the closer we get to the election, how much more difficult it's going to be to work out any sort of substantive deal that actually reduces the deficit, that actually reins in spending, before everything gets so partisanized and so politicized, even further than it is now.
Politicized. It should be politicized.
Could it be
the most
more
important political issue in this nation, the size of government spending.
But when the downside of what you're talking about is potentially pushing the U.S. economy off a cliff because of political intransigence.
So you want these important issues decided in a back room?
And that political intransigence is only going to increase between now and Election Day.
For you to win this Pyrrhic victory, where you want the president, forget about cutting education, Social Security, Medicare, forget about what he cut. No, but
Richard,
to get
you've never met a program you didn't love.
Well, you never met a tax cut that you wouldn't want to give the wealthiest. So let's just say for a second here, the consequence of what you're looking to do. Do you know for us to make our payments, we're going to have to borrow more? And do you know the interest hike on that will end up being $1 trillion more in debt?
This is a false crisis. We are not going to default. We are not.
Time out. Betsy, time out. This means Rapping TV. All right.